Well, this is Guns, Knives, and Tools, and this is the Ozark Trail Vibe. And this is just a kind of a, is this bike affordable type video, and is it a good investment as far as your money and your time? Now, this is, of course, a 27 5-inch wheel bike. This is the small frame, which were the two parameters I was trying to fill with this bike. And, you know, and I had to weigh the opportunity cost of this bike as opposed to another one. Well, this bike, when you buy it from Walmart, is $300. Okay, so we have $300 already chalked up, plus sales tax. Now, let's go through the parts we've changed and why. Because it keeps changing all the time. Mainly because I keep, this bike just keeps inheriting parts from other bikes, and you're going to see that as a trend. This handlebar is, of course, the handlebar off the Ozark Trail Ridge. You can see there, it's the aluminum handlebar. I can get the magnet out, but yeah, that's an aluminum handlebar, of course, an aluminum stem. Well, that boat ain't aluminum frame, all that type of stuff. And of course, we put an aluminum seat post on it. Now, the handlebar that was on this bike was this goofy ass steel bar. It was a little bit longer. I had to cut this one down just to get the, change the reach a little bit. I didn't cut that much off of it. Like, you see that much. That's not very much, guys. And that's all it took. So that big steel bar is gone. And that thing weighs 26 ounces. And this weighs almost next to nothing, even though it's a heavy bar for an aluminum bar. And it came, this there, the other. Of course, we got the grips also from the Ridge over on the Vibe, the bolt-on grips. And blah, blah, blah. Of course, I said something about the seat post. The seat post we have, of course, taken out and replaced with an aluminum seat post 27.2 because quite literally, this is the seat post that came with it. And I don't know, there's a little bit of a difference as far as the length goes, but also the usable height is different. So this has a little bit more safety margin on it, and you can raise it up without getting into the markings. I don't have the end on it, which I guess I should, but that's neither here nor there for a one-to-one comparison. We just had that seat post sitting around. Now, let's keep going on through this thing. Of course, those are two things that I would recommend. One of the first things. I couldn't imagine how much weight was reduced, almost a pound off these handlebars by just changing them. And you can do that relatively inexpensive. You can get them off Amazon, or you can buy them from like Jensen, the Ritchie Comp bars for $20-some with a coupon. I think I paid about $28 is what I'm averaging those things with the coupons that my Internet Explorer browser finds by clicking the little button up on the, whatever. Click the button up on the right-hand side. Anyway, so we're there. Now, of course, I put a stainless steel bottle cage on it, wolf tooth. That's $25. That's just about the price of any good water bottle cage, and this one's stainless steel and will hold the bottle well. I think the plastic ones are $22 or something like that. And then of course we have changed the pedals and put these race face Chesters on there, which I think are better than the Fukers, and they're only a few dollars more. I paid $31 for these. Now, of course, I've changed the chain because this chain has a quick link in it and also is very corrosion resistant, and my kid's gonna ride this bike, so corrosion is a thing. And that's K&M, KMC chain, whatever. Now, I have had to, if you watched any of my videos, I've had to replace the bottom bracket to a sealed cartridge bottom bracket that came out of the Ozark Trail Vibe. I mean, yeah, the Ridge. So this bottom bracket came out of the Ridge. Grips came out of the Ridge. Handlebar came out of the Ridge. Now, where are we at? So all of those parts were donated by another bike that we took it off of when we were upgrading those bikes. So for us, this bike getting all of these pieces and putting them to use was great. If you had to buy these pieces, like, you know, the seat post, the handlebar, all of those things that I just listed, because I didn't pay anything for them. I just paid for their replacements, like $27 for the bar for the one. And then the bottom bracket was, I don't know, 13, 15 bucks, something like that. Who the hell knows? Now, those are just some parts that were swapped over. This is all on top of the $300. Now, the front disc, I mentioned that I replaced it. Well, what I didn't mention is this is a Deore SLX rotor. So it's not just a cheap Shimano rotor. And it's 180 millimeters. It's supposed to do the 160 that was on it. That cost $40. It's on sale right now for $32. The spacer was $11. I think it's on sale right now for $8. For the post-to-post 160 to 180 millimeter conversion. Had those parts, didn't have to pay for those. Did have to pay for the pedals. Did have to pay for the $8 for the adapter to change the front rotor from the front to the back and change this from 140 to 160 millimeter. Now, what else have we done? So there hasn't been a tremendous amount of money spent on the bike. Pedals that had to be spent, an adapter. Everything else were either spare parts or parts that have come off another bike or just been collected over time. But, you know, it's insane to sit there and think that you're going to put a seat post in a frame. There is, where is it? Oh, it's right there. Okay. So right there, and that's all the seat post you got on that bike? I don't know. That don't look right. I don't know what, no, Paul, better come here, look at this. It don't look right. No, it don't look right. Anyway, God, what a bunch of shit. Well, I'll have to get that out of there later. Whatever. You know what I've been using that seat post for? You know cars where they have the damn fuel. They don't have a fuel cap, right? Well, those cars, it's hard to put shit in the gas because they have a block that, you know, this, there, or the other. Well, this diameter and that taper releases the trap door on a car that has that lock where there's no cap. The cap's built onto it and gives you the ability to add fuel injector cleaner or to siphon gas out of it. Did you need to know that? Probably not. But the thing about it is everything, and this is what I was trying to tell my people today, this morning, everything is connected. There is nothing that exists independently in the world. So is this bike a good value? I believe that I have about $450 in this bike. Now this bike is an 8-speed with upgraded brakes, upgraded all kinds of stuff. Is that a good value? That's something that you have to decide. The only thing that makes this a good value for me is the fact that it's a 27-inch wheels. And it's a small frame. And just that. And that's one of the things she required. She didn't want a 29, didn't want this. So could I have paid $100 more and gotten a Mongoose switchback extreme or professional or expert or whatever the hell they call it thing? Yeah. But the world didn't work out that way. And I had the parts to make this bike, and I know the way this bike is going to wind up and run. This bike is going to wind up with a micro shift total drivetrain and probably Advent. Anyway, whenever we blow up the wheels. Have a good one. Is it a value? I don't know. It is if you know how to work on the bike and you have the parts and you can, just have that kind of stuff around. If you have multiple bikes, then it's a value. If not, it would be a project to give a kid or something, or an adult learning how to do this. Learning how to work on bikes, how to change bikes. What does weight distribution, what does the amount of suspension, the suspension travel, how supple the suspension is, how much forgiveness it has on small bumps as opposed to big bumps. What does it feel like? All of those things. So, anyway, welcome to What I Do. Have a good one.